And welcome back, everybody. Welcome, one and all. To Chang's Revolution Live. It's been a little too late, or a little too long since we've seen y'all, but here we are. Here we are, back in shape, back up doing it again. I want to say a warm welcome to George, our good buddy, here visiting. We're going to have a bit of a discussion about, well, as we usually do, current events, things going on in the world around us. George, my friend, how you doing?
I am fine.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell me about your weekend.
My weekend was spent primarily very intoxicated.
Mm-hmm. This is yeah, typical. I can't say mine was dissimilar from that, but
As I recalled, no, it was not.
no. So walk me through it. We had a long weekend. We had a bit of a holiday. What was the occasion?
That would be Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now
The American version of it, anyway.
This is you jumped ahead of me, and I'm so glad you did. What is the differentiation? What is Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving is based on a feast that was held by the Pilgrims and I'm not sure if I am pronouncing this correctly, the Wampanoag Indian tribe in Massachusetts.
What is a pilgrim?
A pilgrim was a dissenting member of the Church of England, and they felt persecuted and moved to the U.S. Well, what is now the U.S.? What was then just, wild land with wild people.
Wild parties, from what I heard.
I don't
The wildest.
know. I don't know if they were boozing it up, but considering there was
Apparently
probably
the
no
Pilgrims
clean
not really,
water,
were
they were.
Yeah. Wasn't Nixon a? What was he?
He was a Quaker.
What's the difference?
Good question. I believe
Like they're kind of conservative, right? But he was
well,
drunk. But he was drunk all the time, wasn't he? Dropping
yes, he
F-bombs and
I-
N-bombs all over the place.
I don't, and real bombs, as it turns out,
Yeah.
because Quakers are traditionally nonviolent. I think we can say that he was a rather poor Quaker, in the sense of did not follow the tenets very closely.
Mm-hmm. So what'd you do? Typically, the thing is you get together, talk politics, eat food.
You try not to talk politics, especially after a presidential election. Not advised.
What's that? Come again now?
You try not to talk about politics at the Thanksgiving table.
Why was there some kind of an election recently? I don't.
They
Didn't.
tell me
Yeah.
there was.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in Korea with you.
Municipal school board elections or what?
As well, I
Yeah.
believe. Yes. So Donald Trump was reelected.
Wow.
There are those, of course, who would say that he was reelected in 2020, but
Mm-hmm.
we can say today that he was definitely reelected this time around.
Why would somebody say something like that?
Why would they say something like that? I suppose it has something to do with disparate views on the legitimacy of how votes were brought in, votes were counted. Yeah.
Well, they get a bunch of people in a room and they just count them, don't they?
Yes, until the water main breaks, and then you have to send out all the Republican observers.
All right. But then, I mean, if there was anything sketchy about it, you would have noticed like large disparity in that one particular event, wouldn't you?
Well, the people there would have, certainly. Everyone else, I think, would have been apprised of this by the national media.
Yeah.
And they, of course, would never have any ulterior motive.
No. Well, I'm just looking, taking a cursory glance at said media right now, and I can see tariffs.
Yes.
Tariffs and more tariffs. It's almost like he's more interested in tariffs than he is in taxes.
Well, I would point out that before the introduction of the income tax in the early part of the 20th century, tariffs were the major source of income for the government. That's how they fueled the beast. But even though I am very leery about tariffs, being of a somewhat libertarian bent, I should draw a distinction that I do not think he is using tariffs as an economic tool, but rather a tool of foreign policy.
Yeah, but isn't that what they're supposed to be?
Not necessarily. Some nations do institute tariffs with the idea that this is just how we're going to pull in extra income. Whereas I think in his particular case, he's using this as a way to help other politicians of other countries
like
come
a flex?
to a decision.
Is it like a flex?
You could call it that.
Yeah, I could. Because I'm not a citizen of your country, so I can pretty much do anything.
No.
Well, you know who else wasn't
part of our northern neighbors?
You know who else wasn't a citizen of your country is that Julian Assange fella, right? And they locked him up. How could they lock a
UK
dude
locked
up?
him up.
And he didn't break any crimes in the country, and they were calling him a traitor. And it's like he's not even. Yeah, he's not part of your country at all. So like I don't know, but he's apparently out of jail now, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Do you have his address? Let's go
I
see him.
do not.
No?
And
say-
if I had it, I would not
No?
let anyone know that I did.
Just leave him alone. Yeah. You don't want to go say g'day?
No, I think he has earned a well-deserved, self-imposed obscurity, if that is what he wants.
Do you think that's what he wants?
I
You think
have
he's
no
gonna
idea.
lay low, or he's gonna get back up to his old shenanigans and?
Either way, whatever Julian Assange wants for Julian Assange is fine by me.
So you got your pilgrims. They're chowing down with their gracious hosts, and that develops into a tradition. Yeah, but it's
Yes.
really like a what is it? Winter solstice, or I don't know.
Winter solstice would be a bit later.
Yeah. Well, what is it? Fall.
Um,
It's like celebrating the harvest, or
Basically, yeah, that's it. The harvest season is over. The harvest has come in. We're all settling in for a freezing ass cold winter up in New England.
yeah. But they didn't harvest, did they?
They did, thanks
Did they?
to the Indian tribe that showed them what to do, because most
I
of
meant
the
Indian
pilgrims
tribes
who
didn't harvest.
arrived in
Didn't they
America.
hunt and gather? Didn't they hunt and gather? They didn't harvest. They didn't like
No,
raise
the
crops.
Indians did teach them how to grow corn, which they did not know how to do because that was a grain they were unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
But again,
That would mean no Doritos.
Yes. I should point out that the pilgrims who arrived in the New World were singularly incapable of surviving. They had, I think, a couple of librarians with them. They had people who really did
You're
not
going to need your
possess
librarians, right? In a survival situation, you're
librarians.
going to need your librarians.
Robert A. Heinlein would argue that civilization rises or falls depending upon how well librarians do their jobs, and I agree. But being married to one, and yet they possessed skills that were not the best for establishing a town in a foreign land, a frontier, if you will.
Yeah. Well, you and I would know about that, right? Living on the other side of the world, right? Like a bunch of pilgrims, right? So we got a nice long weekend, and we enjoyed the turkey, we enjoyed the ham.
I enjoy the turkey simply because I was eating dinner with a larger group, but with a family, the patriarch of which is an army cook who knows how to cook. And so that was probably some of the best turkey I've had in my life. Turkey normally tends to be dry, lifeless, and without any sort of redemption whatsoever.
Wasn't it supposed to be, I read somewhere that was supposed to be your national bird. Is this true?
I don't know how accurate that is. I do know that Benjamin Franklin apparently felt that the bald eagle was a bird of ill repute. But he thought the turkey would be far more appropriate. Of course, at that time, it didn't have the negative connotations that it does today.
Is there something that about the eagle I don't know? Like, what do you mean a bird of ill repute? Like it's hanging out in opium dens and banging hookers? What's it doing?
I would actually welcome a bald eagle like that. No, it would steal food from other birds. It would attack fellow birds as well as fish and other rabbits and what have you.
So it invaded other birds' nests and stole their resources? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I don't know if it actually invaded other nests, but it would, in fact, steal fish and other animals from other birds.
Couldn't you look at it?
And also from fellow bald eagles.
Couldn't you just look at it as though he was bringing democracy to the other birds? No? No.
That is a take, to be sure. I'm not.
This is why I get the big bucks. This is why I get the big bucks, my man. So we, so you had a nice dinner with the associates, and
yes,
I'm pretty sure I saw a number of them over the weekend.
Yes.
What about in the current events there?
About which one?
What's going on? I'm just looking up here at the. I like to take a broad cross section of the various media outlets and see what's going on.
Well, Kash Patel, as you just had up there, being appointed as the new FBI director is very interesting.
Who is this guy?
Kash Patel worked, I believe, with Devin Nunes from California to dispel the Russia collusion myth, that it was basically a bunch of hokum. So that is very interesting.
I'm sorry to say I'm not really familiar with it. What is this Russia collusion thing?
Yes, the idea that somehow Trump in 2016 was elected solely because of Russian collusion in the election, and that he was a tool of Vladimir Putin. And I think it could
this
best
is the fellow
be
there, isn't it? That Kash Patel fellow.
I think it could be best. Yes, exactly.
Okay. That's that fellow there. That's the Trump guy you mentioned earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah, a businessman, they tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A magnate Would you say a magnate?
A magnate. I don't. Sure, why not?
I don't go tossing that word around easily, like all willy nilly, right? But so they say he was in cahoots with some Russians or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was found to be completely unsubstantiated.
But they're still talking about it, aren't they?
Of course they are.
Yeah. Like yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw a fella on the TV the other day, and he was hopping mad about it. He was like making accusations and getting all nervous. Fella guy I think he goes by the name of Maddow. That guy.
Oh, yes.
You ever seen that dude?
Interestingly, a female.
Well, I didn't check.
Well,
I don't listen to what a guy's got to say and then see if the plumbing checks out, right?
It's she doesn't make it easy to distinguish, but I
hell of a haircut on him though.
Yes,
I like the way he wears a suit.
Looks actually like a less grayer version of Keith Olbermann, really. Who is
now there's a quality human.
Equal opinions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Last time I saw him, he was ostentatiously getting his 9th booster while screaming into the camera that people are cowards for not, doing what he does.
Well, to be fair, you have to understand that this is a man who is suffering from, he's falling into irrelevance and obscurity, and he's putting in the good fight to try to stop that. I don't know if he will be successful. I doubt it, but
Keith Olbermann?
Yes.
Well, I'm sure he'll be successful.
Now,
He
think
just smacks of success, that guy. It's like anything
yes.
he touches turns to gold, doesn't it?
Or some other substance.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Fucking AIDS. I don't know.
And Rachel Maddow herself actually, I believe, took an immediate $5 million pay cut because Comcast is seeking to divest itself of NSNBC.
I read that they had a potential buyer, like an interested buyer. Did you hear
Yes,
anything?
it turns
You ever
out
tell her
that there is an American immigrant, now a U.S. citizen, who has done some good work, I think, in the U.S.
Wait, it wouldn't be an African American, would it?
He is in fact an African American, yes.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of racism in the U.S., or so they tell me. So I think it's very good to see an African American like this rising to the top.
I sure hope he doesn't like raping.
Not to my knowledge.
Because I remember back in the day, there was a fella who was thinking about buying a controlling interest in NBC. Fella went by the name of Bill Cosby.
Ah, yes.
And then
Bill Cosby.
suddenly he just got his ass into that rapey time machine and started going back in time and just raping up a storm.
Roofing and raping.
Whereas prior to him wanting to buy NBC, wasn't any mention of it. Nobody was talking about it.
Yes.
It's funny how when you want to buy a big media outlet, all those rape skeletons start coming out of the closet, don't they?
There was also a slight disadvantage that he was saying things to the black community that certain black politicians would have preferred not to hear.
What kind of things? Was he telling them to pull up their pants, or was he calling them was he calling them homophobic or misogynistic?
Well, he was telling them
good old Barrack.
He was telling them
Good old
to
Barry.
pull up their pants. Certainly, responsibility for one's actions, and I guess we can go ahead and say that he has had to take responsibility for his. But yes, the concept that individuals must take responsibility for their own actions. That was a big thing of his.
Yeah, but I mean, it can't be all gloom. Sometimes you got to have a Coke and a smile too, right? Maybe a Jello pudding pop.
Jello pudding pop, yeah.
Yeah.
And Fat Albert, which I grew up with.
Hey. Like standing outside the courthouse and shouting hey, probably not the best idea.
No.
Yeah, that was a while ago, Bill. It was a while ago. Yeah. I don't think anybody really got the reference, but anyway. So how long until that kicks in? He's not they technically haven't passed the torch yet, have they?
To whom?
We got a new.
Well, which torch and to whom? I guess
you got a new president-elect.
Is
that right?
I see. That should be 20 January.
Okay. So they've got until then to
which I
to mastermind any kind of shenanigans that they might want to get up to.
And let me caution, may be wrong here, but I believe that is the birthday of Martin Luther King Jr.
January 20th?
Or at least that's, I think, the now designated Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Again, I'm unsure.
Wow. Well, that's not fair, is it?
To whom?
Well, why would they go and put their inauguration day on Martin Luther King's birthday? It's kind of like they're trying to diminish the importance. That would be like if a bunch of trannies got together and decided to put their LGBT day on, I don't know, fucking Easter. Like, who would do that? What kind of nobody would do that, would they?
The problem with Easter, though, is that it's never on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
It's always based on when the...
So this last one was just a fluke?
The last what? Easter?
Yeah.
No, it's based off of when the first full moon rises after a certain point. It varies.
It's very
from year
John
to year.
Fogerty.
It's sort of like Thanksgiving.
Mm.
Thanksgiving is the fourth Thursday
Yeah.
in the U.S. in November. So it's not always the same date.
But it's always a Sunday. And the last one, so it just happened to be Trans Visibility Day or something like that? So the kids are chasing around eggs on the front lawn of the White House, and there's a drag show.
I mean, a Trans Visibility Day
God.
seems gilding the lily a bit. They're very hard to oversee.
There was a guy. He had a little kiosk, and he was charging $10 to gild your lily. Like, yeah.
Yeah. But I have a strong suspicion we will be seeing less of that in the next 4 years.
Oh, why? Why is that?
Yeah, this new president-elect
Yeah.
seems to take a dim view of people who are, in essence, mentally
Anti-family?
ill and seek to impose their mistakes upon minors.
Ah, yes. Okay, all right. Well, I mean, there's really no way to, there's no way to gauge, right? We don't know where it's going to go because, I mean, how could we have any idea how this guy's going to govern and how he's going to lead? He's brand new, so.
I would suggest that if we can say as a society, hey kid, you're too young to make this decision, you really can't have a tattoo until the age of 18, we could go ahead and extend that to, hey kid, you're just too young to be snipping
Cutting
off
your
dick.
tits off and.
Yes.
Yeah, don't cut your tits off. Unless there's like something wrong with them. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like-
but generally,
Look,
breast cancer
I don't-
doesn't occur in
It did in Montel Williams.
Pubescent and pubescent.
Montel got it,
Yes.
right?
Some
Those
number
big,
of
beautiful,
decades
juicy
later.
titties. Now, they're just a clump of cells, though, right?
A clump of cells.
Titties are just a clump of cells. So if you
They're
want to lop them off,
just a clump of cells,
it's
yes.
my body, my choice, right? Well, unless you're injecting me with vaccines, then it's totally not my body, my choice at all, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a new motto out there among the right that I have yet to actually hear anyone from the right utter, and that is "Your body, my choice." However, the left is very...
That sounds like somebody wearing a fucking ski mask would say, putting a knife to my throat.
The left is very insistent that everyone on the right is saying it. I have yet to hear it, but...
Your body, my choice? I've never heard anybody say that.
Neither have I. But the left keeps telling me men are saying this.
But if somebody said it, I would imagine it would be that with that Silence of the Lambs guy voice, like, it rubs the lotion. It's your body, my choice. Rub the fucking lotion.
Either him or the local draft board. Mm-hmm. But we don't have a draft, so I guess not them.
Well, right now.
Right now.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's, yeah.
So, yeah, I took
that's
the
a perennial,
route.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I took the easy route. I went ahead and enlisted, so I don't have to worry about the draft.
You went and signed up?
Oh, yes.
You didn't have somebody else sign you up?
No, it was actually me.
How would you feel about me signing you up for a friggin' shot of whiskey?
I find myself amenable to that.
There we go. See? The Stockholm Syndrome is kicking in. The doors are locked from the outside.
Is that Jameson's?
Yes,
oh, yes. There we are.
Yes, it is.
Jameson's will definitely be the thing.
Yeah. We usually ritualistically imbibe one at least at the beginning, but we forgot.
Thank you.
Well, I've never seen old George here take a shot, so I wasn't sure if that was going to be a thing today.
Oh, it's definitely going to be a thing today.
You've never seen me take a shot?
No, you always just sit in the corner.
That's true.
He sits and ruminates.
I ruminate.
Well, you make sure that nobody plays shitty music, so I don't really care what you do.
Right?
I do try.
That's a job in
I
itself.
do try not to play shitty music. That is a fact.
Well, and you don't let anybody know that is
I am a trained infantryman. I will not allow anyone to play different music if I am playing the music.
I've been called an infantile trainee. So there.
That strikes me as unfair.
I'm still convinced that somewhere at the end of the tunnel, life is gonna be fair.
No,
No, probably not.
I think
Probably
that
not.
will be in your post life.
Sunday. Cheers.
Slancheva.
Cilantro. Oh yeah. Ooh. It doesn't
Oh,
get
you
better.
downed that right away.
Oh yeah.
I like to sip on whiskey.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe Jameson's is not for sipping. I enjoy it, so I will sip.
I don't know. I'm not a hipster. I'm not a millennial.
Neither am I.
I don't like get a tall can of PBR and then pretend that it's somehow fucking frou-frou. You know?
I remember
it's really my favorite. It's absolutely my favorite. Yeah.
when I was growing up,
my name's
PBR
Colin.
was scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, still is. Still is. We had a fella in here. I don't know what it is about people. Like, we had a fella in here last night, and he was extolling the virtues of McDonald's. Now, I get why McDonald's exists. Sure, I get
Would
it.
this be the president-elect you're speaking of?
No.
Ah.
No. It would be a blonde, curly-haired young man who wears a certain medallion around his neck.
Ah,
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
that's right.
Yes.
I am familiar with that young man.
Yeah.
I
we
would
do share some national origins at some point.
I would say
Yeah.
discount everything that young man says Except when he is extolling my virtues.
Right. Okay. Okay. So he was, he was going on about how awesome McDonald's is, and I was like, it exists. I mean, I'm not going to say it doesn't exist, but like, just because you're familiar with something doesn't mean it's awesome, right? Like, I have some students that I have had, on rotation for the last 20 years. I've had, a freshman class every year, and 2 semesters a year, in fact. And they love telling you how their beverage of choice, that white, that clear liquid that they drink here.
Water?
No, it's the alcohol-less
I
version
see.
of water.
Okay,
Yeah. And they love saying, it's delicious. It's like, no, it's ethanol and water. And they're like, no, it's delicious. And I say, well, look.
Are you referring to the national drink of
Yes.
this fine country?
Yes. Oh, the country where we're located right now?
Yes.
You mean Samoan Micronesia, where we are right now?
Something like that, right.
So they drink, the beverage that they drink here. So
I-
they like to say it's delicious, because in their mind, delicious means I have fun with my friends eating and drinking. Therefore, it's delicious. That's not what delicious fucking means, man. No, it's not. And they're like, yeah, you don't get it. You don't get it. No, the gentleman had a similar kind of affinity for the Golden Arches, and he was saying, no, it's awesome. It's just awesome. I'm like, have you? Please, just stop.
He's young.
Yeah, yeah.
But I did want to point out, I did have the opportunity to spend a month, or just shy of a month, at a South Korean army base not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And in talking to my interpreter there, I had to confess that, frankly, I think sake is far better than soju. And he looked at me and he said, yeah, it is, but don't tell anyone I said that.
Are you trying to start an international incident? What are you doing, man? Good Lord.
I aim to misbehave.
Oh, man. Trying to. Just before he gets back in office, you're gonna pull something like this. They'll be burning tires and never mind.
No, the South Koreans, at least the ones I know, are far too polite to be doing that sort of nonsense.
They're only polite in front of you. You know that, right?
That is true, yes. And they are very polite in front of me, which I appreciate. But it could very well be that they're all sitting at home saying, I wish that running dog American would just keel over and die.
So we can eat them.
I think that's only reserved to
That's
dogs.
illegal now. They don't do that anymore. They do that anymore.
You know, I did spend
They
quite,
totally do that anymore.
I spent quite a bit of time in Vicenza, Italy, and I was surprised to find out that the people of Vicenza actually have a reputation in Italy, and they're known as cat eaters.
Wow.
Because in post-World War II Italy, you needed to get your protein from someplace, and they decided it would be cats.
Wow. So they're not just playing loose with the euphemism.
Correct.
Wow. Wow. Nona.
They were
Nona, you're safe.
They were literally grabbing pussy, yes.
Wow. Wow. Like the what was the Haitian migrants in Ohio?
Yes.
The eating
that
the dogs, the eating the cats. Remember that?
I
Isn't that
have
something?
absolutely no idea if that was true or not.
It's true.
But you know, different cultures, different mores. Who am I to judge?
Well, you were
even
just
though
saying-
they enter my country.
You were just saying, like you lived in Italy,
Yes.
and they're fucking pussy eaters over there, right? So, if you lived anywhere outside of North America, yeah, shit gets weird, man. Like people got to eat, people got to survive. So what
Speaking-
we consider our pets and our loved ones in our family, The guy next door will eat the fucking thing. He doesn't care.
By the way, for your podcast enthusiasts, I should point out that alla
I call them
bolognese,
castratis.
alla bolognese is also Italian slang for a blowjob.
Alla bolognese?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
The women of Bologna are reputed for their oral skills.
The women of Bologna are Bologna?
Yep.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'll have to go and check it out. Sometime. All right. So looking at the CBC here. You ever seen that?
Oh.
That's the,
That wouldn't happen to be the state-owned
yes.
propaganda arm
Yes.
of whatever the
The
current government has to
Kanakistan
be.
Broadcasting Corporation. Yes. Yes.
Though let me say at this point, I am a Letterkenny fan.
Look at him. Look at him. Pucker up. Pucker up, Fidelito. Look at him. Just sucking ass. Oh, you got to love this guy. Look at this.
He's got to do stuff.
Look at this. Kissing daddy's ass.
The kid has to do something to stop his political free fall.
That's not going to happen. don't
I
think
hope
so.
not. But you got to do what you got to do, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Factual.
Oh, look at that sorry piece of. Who is that? That looks like me.
That was mid-transition.
Oh, I see. I need to open my eyes more.
Yeah. So old Fidelito, we've got until next year, right? I think they've got a general election coming up next year, federal election that is, and it seems that he'll be on his way out, and him and his whole, organization of cronies will be packing their bags with him, but that's not really how the parliamentary system works, but close enough.
I will confess I know next to nothing about Canadian politics.
Well, you know the other guy. You know the conservative leader.
Yes, I do. I witnessed his interview while eating an apple,
Yes.
which I was
The
deeply
crunch.
impressed by.
The crunch heard around the world, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was impressive. But it's looking like he's going to be taken over. So then we'll have. If there's no more bullets flying around, hopefully, knock wood, you'll have your guy, and they'll have him, Poliev, and then I don't know. Well, what's going on in Mexico?
Well,
Isn't there a lady?
but before we go there, how do you assess his chances for staying power? Because I have noticed there's been quite a bit of turnover over, say, the past 20 years or so in Canadian politics. Again, I don't know
It's
much
really
about Canadian
kinda-
politics.
It's really kind of crazy. It's really kind of nuts, because I think he was elected outright twice for 2 terms, and then they had a vote of non-confidence in the middle somewhere, and he beat it. Like vote of non-confidence, if you don't know, that's when they launch a snap election in order to, if the leader of the party is deemed unfit or incompetent, then the opposition can demand a snap election within 30 days, and if he's voted out, he's voted out, but if he survives, which he did,
See, in the U.S., it doesn't matter how little confidence you have in the
They have to
government, they're
impeach him.
there.
yeah. Yeah.
You're
it's
stuck.
impeachment. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. But I don't think he's gonna be hanging around. I think he's done for. But that's just my opinion.
But as far as the Mexican president, She seems to be, I don't know if it's too early to use this phrase, she's pulling a Trudeau.
Is she now?
She seems to also be rolling over, although she is assuring her constituency that she is in fact stalwart and representing Mexico as best she can, and yet kowtowing to precisely what the president-elect would like to have.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Well, he was just down there, wasn't he? Didn't he go to visit her, or she came to visit or something?
No, I think it was merely phone calls that they've
Phone
had
calls?
so far.
And
he has met with Trudeau, though.
Okay. Yeah. I imagine Trudeau came to Washington. Or Mar-a-Lago.
That is usually how it works. Hegemony has a certain quality all of its own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what else do you know about this the lady, the Mexican lady?
On the left, firmly, as far as I know. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Scheinbaum is not really a name I commonly associate with Mexico.
Yeah. Oh, is that what they call Latin X? Is that what that is?
You know, the funny thing is, I did not learn of that pronunciation until much later, and I kept wondering why people would call themselves Latinx. And then I discovered that no one was using that except
it's bad to
for
be a man or a lady, apparently.
Apparently, only white
You wanna be an
academics
X.
were using this term.
Yeah.
So
It's like Malcolm X.
I honestly
think
thought
it's
it was
like that.
Latinx.
Latinx?
Latinx.
Yeah,
And I
that
thought,
works.
well, that's pretty.
I'm not one. Whatever it is, I'm not one, so it doesn't really matter to me. But
It seemed diminishing to me.
well, particularly since they didn't come up with the fucking thing, right?
No, and apparently, at over 90% of people of Hispanic origin in the U.S. say no, we don't use that word. Hell no, we won't even consider using that word.
Claudine Scheinbaum Pardo.
Yes.
Wasn't that the guy who did the announcements for like Hollywood Squares and stuff?
Oh, you're thinking of
Pardo?
Don Pardo.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Those who hail from countries of, let's say, just Spanish-speaking countries, that's a
Wow.
peculiarity, not unlike the Russian use of the patronymic as a middle name.
She kind of looks like Lurch from the Addams Family.
Oh gosh, she doesn't look well.
You go here in this picture, and she's like, "Excuse me, counselor, what is a Ute?"
I hate to say it, but she looks a bit John Kerry-like.
She does, doesn't she?
That's frightening.
Yeah.
They have taken very good pictures of her before now, because that's unsettling, really.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not-
think she's got the same plastic surgeon as Donatella Versace.
No, she looks
Christ.
she looks something. She
That
looks
bitch
more
is ugly, man. Oh my God.
She looks feline, but only the way I imagine Satan would imagine felines.
She looks like the Elephant Man and also a burn victim. Like, fuck, it's bad enough if you had to only deal with one.
No
But,
holds
like,
barred here, I see.
Jesus. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But this one, too. Yeah, she looks like... she looks like Donatella and John Kerry's love child. Look at her.
Well, I hate to say this.
No,
No,
you
I don't. I really don't hate to say this, but it is true. Women have the advantage in those adolescent years, and later on they must yield to the fact that men tend to age better than women do.
Yeah. Well, certainly better
I
than
see
her.
that picture right there. She looks great.
Who's this one?
I have no idea who the hell is
Better
that.
looking than
Good Lord. If I saw her slinking down the
Right.
sidewalk, that would draw my attention.
right? I don't know. It might make me a little nervous.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this one, I don't know. Something about her.
Yeah, she
I don't
when I look at her there, I think, "Oh, she looks all of maybe 40." And when I look at the other picture, I'm thinking, was I born before or after her?
Yeah, that's the.
Though I
know,
must
reckon,
admit, I'm getting a little long in the tooth these
I reckon
days
that's
as
the
well.
the old baby blood smoothies that they like drinking in Hollywood.
Yes, yes. Wait, no, adrenochrome, I think, is the substance
Yeah,
they
that's old school.
consume.
That's old school. That was like Fear and Loathing.
Oh,
Wasn't that what they were
really?
doing?
All that way back? Okay.
Yeah, they were drinking adrenochrome and I don't know, throwing a toaster in the bathtub.
I thought they just sacrificed to Satan. I wasn't quite sure.
It's all the same thing, right? It's all the same thing.
Suppose.
And it's weird because, like, the shit they were talking about 10, 15 years ago, they're like, oh, shut up. Oh, there's no fucking mystic cooking and pizza gate and all that. And it's like, yeah, actually, yeah, there kind of was. Yeah, there's still 325,000 children fucking gone missing from the border. And you've still got all of these creepy fucking weirdos in Hollywood, in Washington D.C., all over the fucking world, really. Like wherever there's billionaires and Viagra, there's going to be fucking weirdos. But I don't know.
I don't know what the conspiracy theory du jour is about that, but one thing is immutable, and that is that this number of children go missing.
Yeah.
I don't know who is in charge of it, who is facilitating it. All I know is
Not me.
they are disappearing. And if that is not enough to make one want to jump up and demand that law enforcement find out, I don't know what will.
Oh, not only do people not want law enforcement to get involved and find out, they want to tar and feather anybody who says that law enforcement should be involved at all, right?
Yeah.
Well, what the fuck is your intention if you don't want the police involved, you don't want any kind of law enforcement involved, when 300 some odd thousand children go missing as soon as they get over the border?
To hearken back to Kash Patel, who has now been nominated as the FBI director, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm unsure, but I want to say he had said that, you know what, we'll go ahead and publish the Epstein client list.
Yeah.
That should be very interesting if he does so.
So what do you think would be the blowback from that?
I think we would discover that people in positions of power, be it political, be it cultural,
Like,
have been involved.
Why wasn't it immediately produced?
Well,
It
let's
seems
see.
like-
We've had a
seems
U.S.
like there's a-
president who was on an Epstein flight how many times?
Yeah,
30-something?
Yeah, precisely. So
Uh,
it smells to me like an effort to normalize the behavior before the list is exposed, right?
There's a limit to how much you
It's
can
like-
ask
it's like when you're-
the
it's like when you're
average
trying to get your
American
lady-
or average person to accept.
Yeah.
There's you can
Oh,
only
you'd
push
be
the
amazed.
Overton window so far, so fast.
Yeah.
It's going far too quickly. They know that they would be.
Well, look at the whole Diddy thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, where's the outrage? Well, no one cares because they're all celebrities. Fuck them, right? And it's like there's memes, there's jokes. It's all the baby oil ditty dildos and all these memes and
Yes.
memes and jokes and jokes. And this is surreptitious fucking normalization. This is what's going on.
I agree.
Right? So all the while during this whole Diddy thing, the fucking Epstein list is still there. Right?
Unpublished.
And no one's even talking about who fucking murdered the guy, right? Who the fuck he is? Who was he taking the place of, and who took his place once he was gone? Because what, you think that
I would
that
say P. Diddy for one.
right? That industry just fucking dried up? No, it didn't. No, it didn't. And what were his government connections, right? Who was he working for? Was he a washed up fucking gym teacher, like the story suggests? How the fuck did he suddenly become this big financial advisor or finance mogul just out of fucking nowhere? Like, he got fired as I don't know, middle school, high school teacher, and then he just became a financial advisor to high net worth people. Of course he's a fucking agent. He's a fucking Mossad, or he's something.
Well,
right?
if you look back,
He's suddenly
to-
got a list and that can take down the biggest fucking richest people in America, in the world even.
You look back to the scandal in Belgium. I want to say that was early 2000s. Marc Dutroux, I think was the guy's name, facilitating the acquisition and distribution of minors to very wealthy individuals in Europe, big in finance, big in royalty, all sorts of people. We've never gotten to the bottom of that. Who were those people who were the buyers, if you will? We only know about Marc Dutroux. It's been covered up. It's been over 20 years.
Yeah.
Will we ever find out?
this
Unless someone goes in there with the clear intent of, we are going to find out and we are going to release this to the public as it should be.
But the public is fucking stupid. And
I disagree with that.
Is the public ready to hear what's on that list? And I
Absolutely
think that's
they
why
are.
I think that's why they're trying to normalize it slowly but surely. Right? They're trying to normalize it first, and then they'll tell us, oh yeah, all the people that you know and love, all the people that you've been worshiping and idolizing your entire life are all complete fucking degenerates.
Well,
right?
first I would say the public is not stupid. They can be blinded, I grant you that, but that is always a temporary thing. One should never bank on the continued ignorance of others, because it is only a matter of time until the game is up. People will get wise,
I
and
guess
they
you're right.
will demand.
I guess you're right. The public is not stupid.
No.
The public is evil.
Is
the
what?
public is willfully evil, right, and not stupid. Because I've spoken to people many, many times about these matters, and when they look me in the eye, and they're like, and they say like, "Come on, that's not a stupid look. That's an evil fucking look." When people absolutely refuse any kind of investigation into something like this, and then try to turn it back on you and say you're just paranoid. No. That's not stupid. That's evil. You're right.
I don't think that is evil. That is, oh, good Lord, what is the term? It's cognitive dissonance. They want to preserve what they understand to be life as they know it, because they are afraid that those spouting so-called conspiracy theories could in fact be right, and what that would mean to them and how they would necessarily have to react. I don't think it's willful evil. I think it, yes, certainly is. I think cognitive dissonance, if there were ever a thing that could be considered evil, that is but it is they it is an evil brought about by not examining what is going on around you.
And not drinking enough Jameson, if you ask me.
There you go.
Yeah.
I would always say that's a fundamental evil that should be remedied.
Let us wash these sins in Jameson. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think the public generally responds as well. I don't want to say as they should. I'm no one to say how anyone should react, but I would say that when they understand, when they see quite clearly before them what is obvious, they do in fact react as one would expect, with outrage.
But have they?
Have they understood what's
Have they?
going on
Where,
around
like,
them? I would grant
the
you.
outrage seems rather selective.
Hold on.
In certain groups.
I would suggest this. You said a while ago, the public is stupid.
I was drunk when I said
Well,
that.
that's okay. I get that too. I would pose
Not
that,
like now.
I would pose to you that they are ignorant. I am ignorant.
Mhm.
There are things I do not know. Ignorance is not a sin. Continued ignorance, you might consider a sin.
Mhm.
So it's just a matter of the public finding out what is actually going on. And once they do, John and Jane Doe will rise up. They will demand accountability. And with any luck, they will vote politicians in who will provide that accountability.
Or they'll shave their heads and move to England.
Or they'll shave their heads and promise not to have sex for 4 years.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
there
God.
is that.
Thank God.
I tell you,
I've been just such a whipping boy for sex these days. It's just too much.
what, you're having too much
Much.
sex?
No, I don't have any.
Ah. It's why I think John Rogan podcasts are excellent, but at 3 hours long, how
Yeah.
can I fit in time for masturbation?
John Rogan. I like that John Rogan.
Did
guy.
I say John Rogan?
I saw him on Face Page.
John Rogan. He's a cousin of John Wick.
Shout out
Don't you shoot his cat.
to the Sullivans. Fucking Face Page. Gotta love it.
I mean, hey, I'm in South Korea for an unaccompanied tour.
Yeah.
I have to come up with something, and I would prefer not to frequent prostitutes.
Yeah. Yeah. What if you just infrequent them?
I think either way, my wife would be intensely disapproving of that choice.
Yeah, but come on. Come on. How much of a tyrant does she have to be? It's like, what? I can never go to a prostitute? Never?
Yes,
Like,
that is
never?
that,
Come
that is
on.
a thing.
There's got to be
She-
some deal
yes.
that we can strike here, okay? Come
No,
on.
no. Some things.
It's not like I'm lining up a side piece. I'm not getting her a fucking apartment. I'm not buying her a used Honda. Relax, you know. Like
I
like,
think
I've got the fucking side piece starter kit. It's like one bedroom apartment, used Honda. Yeah, that's it.
I would
All-
say that regardless of how it may shake
All
out,
my
my
old
wife's answer
furniture.
will always be no. And since, after all, I did take a vow, I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
Well, and you're a decent human being, yeah. So
I try to be. I don't know how well I succeed.
I'm pretty sure if the shoe was on the other foot, I don't think you'd be cool with it either. You'd be like, no.
That is
This
true.
is why we have ADT. No, Jody, fuck off.
Oh, Jody. Jody is everywhere.
Right? I've got like an automatic fucking phalanx firing system for when Jody approaches the gate. Just
You think Jody is a myth.
no,
He's
it's not. Jody's real, and Jody doesn't sleep.
Jody does not sleep except with other people's significant others.
Yeah, yeah. He's always working that Jody. Why can't everybody be as fucking, task oriented? Good old Jody.
The payoff is different.
Yeah, really, right? What did the guy in the Narco say? Plombo or plata, or plata or plombo?
Right.
Money or lead.
Yeah,
You're gonna take one of them. You're gonna take one of them.
absolutely.
So getting back to North American geopolitics.
Uh-oh.
So so we got that coming up next year.
Early
he's gonna
next year.
I think it's October. I don't know. I haven't been there in 20 years. So I don't know.
Where in 20 years?
Canada.
Canada. Oh,
Yeah.
Canada.
Oh, Canada.
I.
No one mentioned to you that that's originally how the national anthem was sung? Oh, Canada.
I have
Oh,
never
Canada.
visited the northern neighbor, and I regret that because even though I am adverse to intense cold and hockey while I'm at it,
How dare you?
I know.
You shut that gorgeous mouth of yours.
Ooh.
Damn it.
But in the same way I'd like to visit Mexico. It's the North American continent. Might as well meet the neighbors, find out what's going on.
You don't like hockey?
Talk to people. Find out. What is the average Canadian like? I have no clue. None. I'd like to find out.
How can you not like hockey?
Um,
How is Jesus going to feel having created it when he hears you say that?
Honestly, I can see a football when you pass it. I can
Sorry. That happens
honestly.
sometimes.
I'll hear people cheering. I have no idea that the puck has moved from there to there. I can't follow it.
Yeah, because you're not watching the puck. It's like the adage about like the dog looking at the finger when you're pointing at the moon. Right? You got to watch the attitude and the you got to watch the players. You don't watch the puck. The puck's too small. They watch the puck.
Evidently, it is a sport far, far beyond my capacity to
Oh,
comprehend.
come on.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, in Germany, I knew quite a few hockey enthusiasts, and they were great people to be around, and they were very supportive of their teams.
They weren't Canadian, were they?
Pardon?
They weren't Canadian, were they?
They were not. They were actually German.
Oh, okay. All right.
Although I do know of a Canadian who still lives in Germany, and great guy, loves hockey. I think he is actually part of a what do you call them, amateur hockey team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he dominates being Canadian. But
I'd be always worried though. The Germans, they probably give it a weird name.
They
Like
do.
hockey night in Canada is like the night that there's
No,
like
it's
the
just hockey.
hockey games.
it is hockey.
What do they call it? Monday night football or whatever in the U.S.?
I wouldn't know. I don't watch professional football. I only watch
Yeah.
college football.
Yeah. The Germans
Yes,
would probably
I
give
admit
it.
it. I hate NFL.
The Germans would probably give it a weird name, like, oh, the hockey tournament, the night of the long blades. It's like, please don't, no, don't call it that. Please.
That was a slightly different event.
No. Jesus Christ. Oh, he really smashed him into the crystal nacht. It's like, no, it's the glass. Not. Stop calling it that. Jesus.
Oh, Germany. I lived in Germany for not quite 21 years. It is quite the place.
Mm-hmm. I've only been there once.
Once
fucking
is all
loved
it
it.
takes.
I fucking-
Depends on how long you stay.
I fucking loved it because the people that were hosting me, they were just like their racism was like so seasoned and like matured. It was like a fine wine.
Yes, it is subtle
Yeah.
and requires a bit of time to understand the bouquet and how it unfolds on the palate.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they asked me, like, I was visiting this family. They asked, like, where would I like to visit and see? And it was during the holidays. So it was great. Went to the Christmas market. And we drank Glühwein, and, it was nice. It's like, well, where would you like to go, Peter? And I said, excuse me, my name's Chang Dae-goon. I don't know who this Peter fellow is. I don't know, you're throwing these names around like that. But anyway, he's like, well, we can't go there. That's too close to Strasbourg. Too many gypsies. I was like, oh, I've never seen a gypsy. Like, yeah, I haven't seen a fucking gypsy.
Most Germans have not seen a gypsy,
Yeah.
for that matter.
Well, I don't know. I think Horst probably saw one. If you're watching Horst,
I would have to say, and I have to speak to our Canadian podcast followers.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but Germany holds the monopoly on anti-Americanism. And
Really?
it is deeply,
you got her attention. She's
deeply entrenched.
I don't
And
think so.
it was always fun. It was always fun to hear people explain to me why my country sucks so badly. And I wasn't ever really quite sure what they expected from me, if I was supposed to say, why, thank you for your honesty, or what. But no, Germans, even though they will deny it, even though they may be part of a German American what have you, intensely feel that they are absolutely superior to any American you could introduce to them.
Hmm.
They're convinced of it. Certainly
How, like,
morally.
or
They're
what,
absolutely
genetically, morally, how?
morally primarily.
Yeah.
They are
Just because of Dresden, or
no.
just in general?
Germans, you have to understand, are convinced, whether they will admit it or not, they are convinced of their moral superiority, regardless of what it is you may have to say. They know they are right and you are wrong.
Have you heard any examples of that, or justifications for that? Like top three, what are the reasons that they cite?
Oh, well, let's see. We are warmongering. Can't fault them for that. We do tend to be.
Mhm.
But in the early 2000s, it wasn't that America necessarily was going into Afghanistan. Iraq, they were very strongly against. And I must admit, I myself was a bit ambivalent about that. But we just weren't kind enough. I don't know
feel
how
like I
one
just-
engages in warfare.
I feel like I just
being
asked
kind.
a liberal. I feel like I just asked a liberal why they hate Trump. What?
Yes.
He's
It-
fucking bad. Okay. It's like
The answer was always very inchoate. Why do they hate America? They hate America because it's not Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's probably the answer.
Hmm.
Because anything German is superior, ipso facto.
Hmm.
And I know you may be thinking to yourself, hang on, surely that's not true. I promise you, it is true. I have no doubt in my mind. You could go there with the best Canadian products, talking about the wonders of Canada,
Yeah.
and they would find some way to explain to you why you are mistaken. Germany is better.
Well, and Canada's a shithole, and it can go fuck itself, and I don't care. But
It's a pretty beautiful shithole, though. You got
well for now. Why? Because geology. Because of that's
Hey,
it.
geology
There's
counts
nothing beautiful
too.
about it. There's nothing beautiful about it, politically, culturally, or otherwise. No, it's a fucking shithole. Yeah, it's a shithole full of fucking cowards and pussies.
I
Yeah,
have not
That's
been.
exactly what it is.
I have not been there.
Deranged fucking apology. Yeah, like they're just completely fucking obsessed with apologizing to the point that they're completely overwhelmed. And they're convinced that, well, if you apologize hard enough, then eventually Jagmeet Singh's going to fucking pack his bags and go away.
Well,
No, it's not. He exists because you are apologetic in nature. That's the only reason he's there. The only fucking reason he's there. There's a reason there's a guy who was born in the town right next to me in Toronto who wears a fucking turban to go into the House of Commons and guilt trip on Canadians on how fucking racist they are. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? And Canadians are like, well, maybe if we just, if we apologize to the Halloween costume guy enough, maybe then they'll forgive us and then we'll be okay. Yeah. So let's keep voting for the fucking NDP, right? It's fucking pathetic and it makes me sick. Yeah. So I would never go to Germany and try to brag any kind of patriotism about Canada. I'm not patriotic in the fucking least. No, I'm quite fucking ashamed of Canada. But
Well, I will, as you already know, I was in Poland in 2014 and got to work with a company of Canadian paratroopers, and I found them wonderfully unapologetic. I thought they were possessed of the poise that one would expect of someone who knows who he is and what he's about.
yeah, but you were what on a paratroop demonstration?
This was
Yeah.
shortly after.
You weren't in a ballot box with them.
No.
Yeah, you were not. You were on a military exercise in Poland with them. You were not in a ballot box with them. There's a reason that Trudeau got elected 3 fucking times. 3. If what I'm saying is not true, then that could never happen. But it did happen. It did happen. People
But-
voted against their best interest 3 fucking times in a row.
But I'll doubt that the majority of that Canadian paratrooper company voted for him.
Do you know what the numbers are? Do you
I
know
do
how
not.
few fucking service members there are in their military?
I don't.
I think there's 30,000. Yeah, it's fucking tiny. It's tiny. It does it's as a voting base, it's nothing. Yeah,
The
there's way
paratroopers-
more fucking auto workers than there are. Yeah,
The paratroopers I worked with seemed extremely dedicated to their craft.
yeah, not a reflection of the typical Canadian. Not at all. Not at all. No,
That's
I mean
sad.
90 fucking percent of the population of the whole country is in urban centers, right? And who are they? Oh, the farmers with the fucking hayseed? No, not at all. Quite the fucking opposite. It's just like what you see in your country.
Oh,
you get
absolutely.
all these blue pockets in fucking New York and then in parts of California. That's about it.
There are people.
And who are they?
in the
are
U.S.?
Are they fucking John Q fucking red-blooded American no, they're not. No.
There are.
And England's got the same thing right now. The same fucking apology tour. If we apologize enough, then the brown people are going to forgive us. And
You can
eventually,
never.
of course, fucking never.
You can never
of course,
apologize
fucking
enough.
never. No, but
In
that's
fact,
what they're doing.
apologizing
Hand
is
over
showing
Did you see the guy in
weakness.
Scotland? The guy in Scotland, this fucking minister in Scotland. He's like, we got to change everything. Look at this. Minister of Safety, white. Minister of Health, white. It's like, dude, you're in fucking Scotland. Who let this guy in the building? Fuck off, man. The fuck out of here.
We
shit.
sometimes forget that humans are the rational animal, and here I will emphasize animal.
Mhm.
You cannot win by demonstrating inferiority. You cannot apologize your way out of anything.
Dude, this whole weekend, man. This whole weekend, everybody I interacted with, you know, the gas utility guy, Asian. The taxi driver, Asian. The bus driver, Asian. Well, yeah, because I live in fucking Asia, motherfucker. The fuck are you talking about? Oh, no. We gotta do something about this. This Asia's full of Asians, man. We gotta do something about this. Gee, sheesh.
But I must admit, I enjoyed working with the Canadian paratroopers back in 2014, though I'll be damned if I was going to jump out using one of their parachutes. Those guys were nuts. I mean, we got to get to the ground as fast as possible. Hold on, maybe not that fast.
You didn't give her a walk around, kick the tires before you got in the plane?
I did get an opportunity to examine that parachute very close up, and I reached the decision that the last thing I'm going to do on this earth is jump with a Canadian Army parachute.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very glad to this day that I did not jump with one of those parachutes.
Mm-hmm.
They very well made, but I'll just stick with mine. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Made out of pure Saskatchewan sealskin. You know that, right?
I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Are there seal in Saskatchewan? I thought that was landlocked.
Moving on.
See, I know a little bit about Canada. Not much, grant you, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what else are they talking about there at the?
how long have we been going? Jesus Christ, this might be as long as a John Rogan podcast.
Just about an hour and a half. Not that long. All right. So
You know, actually doing this, I am very impressed with Trump and with J.D. Vance that they did this for 3 solid hours. Just, saying what they have to say.
I think John Rogan probably does a little bit better preparation than I do.
He probably does.
You know?
I would suggest a name change.
Oh,
You
yeah.
might want to go with Joe.
Joe?
Yeah, Joe.
For me?
Sounds
Joe
sounds-
Dagoon?
It sounds more working class to me.
Joe Dagoon?
Joe Rogan.
My name?
Sure.
John Rogan's name. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Wait, what was that? The Forgotten Site? No, the
it's-
Forgotten Street.
This is a
found
BBC.
behind a-
They're still bragging about their whole love romance with India. I don't know. The ancient Indian.
No,
ritual
I'm
where
just
humans
looking at the
become
one about
gods.
Edinburgh, because that's closer to my ethnic tradition than
Where's that?
India would be. No, go
Here?
down. No, further. Right there on the left-hand side of where you saw the thing about India.
Here?
Yeah, there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. The
Because,
forgotten street found behind a hidden library door. Huh. I think this is what they call a slow news week.
It is. It is. But then that is characteristic for
They weren't scared to
the
rock some
season.
cleavage back then, were they?
No.
Yeah.
But
No shoes, but mom's got the old baby feeders out.
Yeah. The last active holiday season news time I remember was that 1990 or 1991 when the Soviet Union collapsed?
Wasn't that 89?
No,
was
that's
the
when
Berlin
the
Wall.
Berlin Wall fell. Yeah. I
91, I think.
I stopped in there 2 days after and got a piece of wall from the Prenzlauer Platz, it was called at that time. No, I think it was 91. Christmas season of 91 when it all came collapsing down everywhere. In fact, I think Ceausescu was killed over the season. Served him right. He was worthless.
What season is that?
That would have been that, I want to say 1991? Maybe it was 1990. I really can't recall, but it all fell apart so quickly. And I remember thinking at the time, hang on, CIA and everyone else, you were telling me what a stalwart set of nations we were set against, how they were going to defeat us if we didn't spend more tax dollars on the military. And then they collapsed
Come
like
on.
a house of cards.
Come on, if you send them enough money, they'll win, right? Just like the Ukraine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, they're starting
Ukraine.
from the get-go. They're starting with so much moral virtue in the first place. They have fucking playing the piano with his penis guy, buying mansions for his family with all your fucking money, and when they're not arming Nazis to kill Russians, then they're crying victim when finally somebody puts an end to it and says, "Fucking stop this."
I wish
I heard that from a guy in the street. He just told me that.
I wish I could help people understand why it is that I would like to see Ukraine succeed without over $200 billion tax dollars from the U.S. I would honestly, I would have no problem at least watching the EU match those funds. That would be nice.
But Ukraine succeed. Yeah, what does that look like? Describe that to me.
How they see it or how it will actually come about?
Yes.
Yes.
In any case, what is Ukraine succeeding? What does that look like?
Okay, Ukraine succeeding means wipe out every single idea you have thought that you would reclaim the Crimean Peninsula. You will not get it back.
Mm-hmm.
That will not happen.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot.
You being who? Russia?
Ukrainians. That they think that they're
Disabuse
somehow going to
themselves.
get the Ukraine, that they're going to get the Crimean Peninsula back. You're idiots. It's not happening. It's not. It will not happen. I cannot foresee, and I will admit, I only have a certain degree of knowledge about military things. I'm not a strategist by any stretch of the imagination, but I just don't see how they ever get the Crimean Peninsula back. I could see possibly how they might get territory, that is, the Ukraine might get territory back in Kherson and in Zaporizhia, but Russia wants that land bridge to the Crimean Peninsula. They want it. They will not step back away from it. Donbass, Luhansk. Sure, you could dispute it, but let's face it, the people who live there consider themselves more Russian than they do Ukrainian. I would say Donetsk, Luhansk, they wind up in Russian hands. There will be a land bridge connecting Russia to the Crimean Peninsula, and Ukraine gets whatever territory Russia's willing to bargain away, and I think they're willing to bargain a goodly part of it away. They just want that land bridge. That's all they want. And if they play their cards right, they can probably get the EU footing the bill for rebuilding Ukraine instead of doing it themselves. They could go ahead and say, hey, you know what? We'll go ahead and agree to you joining the EU. They're off the hook. Then again, we have Trump. Who knows? That guy can do things.
You ever notice sometimes Ukrainian chicks are really fucking hot? You ever notice that?
Everyone's hot until they get older.
I'm not trying to put you off course. I'm just saying. Like, while you were talking about, like, while you were talking about Ukraine and you're like mentioning all these areas, and I'm like, fuck. I wonder where Lisa and Katie are right now. Jeez, you know what? They're friggin' hot. Both of them. Hey, girls. Hope you're watching. But, yeah. Yeah. So, but Trump said he's going to fucking put the end of that in 24 hours. What do you think of that?
I don't know if you are familiar with the journalist Selena Zito. And she did this way back.
Sounds like a character from the movie Grease.
Sort of, maybe. She
Eat a weenie, Zito.
She made the comment back in 2016 during the election, Trump against Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
She said, the problem is Trump's detractors take him literally, but not seriously, whereas his supporters do not take him literally, but they do take him seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So do I honestly think he can solve the problem within 24 hours? No. Do I think it might take a couple of weeks? Sure. He could do. He could probably pull that off. In other words, the time frame will be short.
Mm-hmm.
Will it be 24 hours? I doubt it.
But
will it be short?
I'm
Yes,
not pretending you're unaware of what his proposed solution is going to be, and I think we both know what that's going to be. Yeah. I hope we both know. What do you think it's going to be?
The last thing I read was sort of obviously a ceasefire, but with the idea that these disputed territories, and where have I heard that before, these disputed territories would become a question to be answered at a later date. I don't know how successful that will be. I think in the long term it will be a source of trouble, but then again, we're talking about a guy who said basically, hey, said to Israel, annex the Golan Heights. Hey, Jerusalem is now the capital. As far as we're concerned, we're moving our embassy there.
He did.
Which was, honestly, the thing that so many administrations had promised to do, and he actually did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with no real repercussions.
But you mentioned, a ceasefire might take it's not going to be done in 24 hours, but the ceasefire is going to happen, as the result of a clear policy decision, right? I mean, this whole thing's been happening because of funding. Without funding, they wouldn't have been able to do any of this in the first place. They wouldn't have been able to start their bullshit in 2014. Donbass wouldn't have been bombed without our money, without our weapons.
Well,
so once you cut that off, doesn't this all just go to bed? I took it that's what he was talking about. Am I wrong?
That's the idea, to stop the fighting. first and foremost, you have to understand, I've been paying very, very close attention more to drone technology, especially in the past couple of months I have.
Lord knows I can drone on.
Oh, but you have a situation where, how do I put it? I've been
I call
reading.
this the ghost.
Yes, very nice. I like it. All of these articles about the war have spoken about Russian losses, Russian casualties.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, that is interesting. That's important for me to know, looking at it from a military standpoint. What did I not get? I never got figures on Russian losses. Not Russian, excuse me. Ukrainian losses.
Yeah, it's like Rachel
Ukrainian
fucking Maddow
casualties.
is writing the whole playbook. It's just
Ukrainian
propagandistic.
fatalities.
Yeah.
So now, over the past few months, I've come to discover, okay, we're talking about, and these figures are uncertain, but somewhere over 300,000 Russian casualties, which is dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
But yet over 500,000 Ukrainian casualties. And this is the point where I have to say, I know that Russia can take that number, but can Ukraine? And no, they can't. They can't continue this war. If the war continues, Russia will win.
Well, that being said, hasn't it already won?
In essence, really, yes, they have.
So they just had to wait. They had to wait it out until, the weak-willed warmongers got out of the way. Because basically, they only started this thing after Trump left office, and then they sent a delegate to go and negotiate with Zelensky. A gal goes by the name of Kamala Harris, and under 72 hours later, Russia invaded.
Well, to quote her.
Am I wrong about any of that?
Actually, I'm not quoting her. I think I'm paraphrasing. Ukraine is a country. It's next to Russia, which is a bigger country.
Did Ukraine grow up in a middle-class family?
It may have, which is why we support it. But
oh my God.
I am very interested to find out how the Trump administration will address this. But essentially, Russia has already won. I just do not I cannot imagine a return to a situation before the war. Ukraine is going to lose territory, and that's simply the way it is.
I don't want to, I hate to go out on a low note, right?
I
want to try to
so.
keep everything upbeat. So, you know what? Why don't we just take these lemons and try to make some lemonade, shall we? Or whatever the fucking Ukrainian equivalent of lemonade is. Because,
Kvass. But it's made out of bread.
Oh, yeah. I've noticed a pattern. So if you'll follow me down this rabbit hole, check this shit out. So right now, here in Samoan Micronesia, right, where our benevolent hosts are caring for us, you meet a lot of, different types. You meet business types. You meet academic types.
I don't.
You meet
may.
military types, right?
That
you
I
meet
do,
all
yes.
types of a bunch of different fellas, right? A bunch of different dudes. I've met a number of colorful characters over the years.
Mm.
You'll meet dudes from North Africa, from all over the glorious African continent, and most of them are working in some kind of a assembly factory kind of thing like that. Now, dude's got a master's degree in engineering from like the University of Lagos, in just one example, and multiple other examples. They've all got fucking master's degrees, all of them, and they're all here either on student visas or worker visas. So the guy with the master's in engineering is plugging chips into a circuit board in a semiconductor factory, right?
Mhm.
And he's making money that, like, back home is hand over fist. Great.
Right.
Win-win. And then you'll meet dudes from, like, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, you know. I told my friend from Bangladesh, I'm like, dude, I really want to come and visit your country. And he's like, oh, yeah, good, welcome anytime. I said, no, I really want to visit your fucking country. And he's like, why? Why do you say it like that? I was like, there's no men there. They're all fucking here, right? It must be like 100% women just in Bangladesh, because all the dudes are here doing some kind of engineering master's degree and like working in a kitchen. Yeah. Right?
Now, I will
So-
admit that's
So here's
not
the
exactly
here's
my
the
focus.
cherry. Here's the cherry on top, George. If that's your real name.
It may or may not be.
So here's the thing. They also have the refugee visa, right?
Mm.
The G visa, which is a thing of God, if you ask me. Because the G visa, the refugee visa, it's usually for, like, okay, war-torn areas, right? If you're escaping war, if you're escaping some kind of persecution, right? Usually
Political persecution. Yeah.
political persecution, which is usually, well, no, not usually, but often religious, has religious foundations. right?
I would definitely fold that in there, yes.
Yeah. So, and I mean, you can pretty much point in the fucking general direction of the religion that's persecuting other religions right now. Not 100 years ago, not 500 years ago, right fucking now, right? And they're not persecuting dudes. They're persecuting women
They always have.
for trying to be Christian.
Yes.
Yeah. So, on the shores of this lovely country, there's fucking throngs of women showing up at the gate because they want to be Christian. So I think this is an opportunity for the local government, which has a declining population. Let's not be honest. I think the local gals are not terribly enthralled with the fellas around here. So you get all these Christian gals coming from, from over the hills and far away, as they say, and showing up here. Well, I can see why they're stamping all those visas and going, yep, yeah, you with the blue eyes, yeah, you can come in. You? Oh, I like your hair. Yeah, come on. You come on in. Yep. Dudes? Oh, you don't have a master's degree to put, like, microchips into into a board? Now, get out of here. No. Yeah.
I think we will see more of that.
Well, I mean,
Birth rate replacement rates.
yeah, well,
have,
but this is the
have
point
dropped so
this is the point that I'm
dramatically.
bringing up. Like, we're familiar with the concept of, like, wartime migration, right? Or economic migration, right? People moving to work or whatever, but people that are, because do you really think that everybody lining up saying, oh, I'm a persecuted Christian is actually a Christian? I don't know. I'm not so sure. But I think that certain countries, just like you said, they have a birth rate problem, and they're willing to look the other way on some
Almost
shit and say,
all of
all
the
right, let 'em in."
nations of this earth have that problem.
What
We
problem?
are living in a nation right now whose replacement rate is under 0.07%.
Right. Yeah.
This is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
But what people don't understand is that almost every Western industrialized nation is not replacing itself. The replacement rate is far too low. Even in Africa, there are nations that are now, their replacement rates are falling under, I think, what is the figure, 2.1%? There are only a handful or so of those on the African continent that are above. And, well, you know, that happens. It's fine, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What distresses me is how many people say, oh, well, this isn't really an issue. Remember,
It's a fucking issue, dude.
Say
Yeah.
1985. Well, in 1985, you know, the world population was this amount. And I think, well, two things. One, that's a snapshot. That is, at that moment, that's the way it was. Nothing more, nothing less. And two, why do you believe that the social situation in a declining population will it be equivalent to one rising, and they meet at this one point, this snapshot in time? See how nice it was then? Yeah, sure. Except this population was rising instead of declining. It's not going to be the same, because it only takes a short period of time to go from what I think the world population hit 8 billion people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now it's declining. What makes you think that society will be similar on its population decline? It's not. You're going to have a lot of older people who need to die soon because there is no wealth of young people able to work to support the social system in place for those older people. I think a lot of people are kidding themselves that somehow, oh, we'll go back down to when it was, 5 billion. It'll be fine. No, it won't.
Wasn't that the Georgia Guidestones? Didn't it say that?
Oh, that was 500 million.
Yeah. 500 million. Did you see somebody blew them up? Some guy brought out some dynamite and blew them up.
Blew them up, yes.
Yeah,
I don't
they're
know
like
if
partially
that was-
destroyed.
And the question I ask is, was it because he disagreed with the sentiments? Or was it because he agreed with the sentiments and didn't want it to be quite so public?
Well, for people who are not familiar with it, can you recap what did they say in the Georgia Guidestones?
Among other
Or
things...
what is it, and what did it say?
Among other things, it was keep the world population to 500 million.
Mm-hmm. Don't fight.
I think there was the idea of an institution of a one world language,
Right.
an international court. I honestly don't remember a lot about
But
what was there.
those were the big ones, right? It's like,
Yes, plus they were able to
it's like,
discover.
hey, let's speak the same language. Let's do this. Let's do that. Oh, yeah. And by the way, the world should only have 500 million people. 95 or 90% of y'all have to fucking go, is basically what it says.
Right.
That's the biggie for
But
me.
here's the thing. We sort of know who was responsible for the construction of the Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah, they have the guy's name.
And the guy was a racist.
Mhm.
When he's talking about a reduction of the world population, he's no different than Paul Ehrlich when he was talking in the population bomb. When he's talking about being in India and there are people everywhere, he's not talking about the crush of people at the Kentucky Derby. He's not talking about, if you will, white people, people like, say, Paul Ehrlich. He's talking about other people who he would rather not see.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a racist? I have no idea, but let's face it, his ideas, very close to.
I met a lot of people in this life, George, and I'll tell you, there's two kinds of people. There's racists, and then there's fucking liars.
Well, I must admit, I do find race a very silly way of categorizing people.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I entered the public school system in where I grew up, and that was in the 7th grade, and there was a blank for race. I wrote in human,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently that went until the 12th grade when I had someone call me in and ask me to change that.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely.
Was it?
Was
Was it the nurse? Because she only fucked white boys.
No,
So
no.
she's like, no, I want that one. But he's not white. He's human. No.
Go figure.
Make him change it.
Go figure. But I honestly believe that Martin Luther King Jr. had it right. I want to see people judged on the contents of their character. Nothing else matters.
Wasn't he also banging everything that moved too?
What?
Wasn't he also banging everything that moved? He had a bunch of mistresses
there are
and a bunch
reports.
of.
There seems
I think he
to
had
be a
he had
discrepancy
a hot
between
tryst with
his
Phil Donahue or something.
very possibly.
You didn't hear about the Phil Donahue theory? No.
But what I would suggest is people can get many things wrong, but sometimes they get things right. And I would say he got that thing very much right.
Which part did he get right?
The thing about judging people by the contents of their character.
Eh.
But that's me, an old softy. I don't know.
I've been more likely to judge people by the contents of their glove compartment. I'd be like, dude, what the fuck is that?
I pray
I
God
felt like-
you.
I
I
felt
pray
like
God
Mayor-
you never look inside my glove compartment.
I felt like Mayor Eric Adams. Maybe there's a gun. Maybe something as innocent as a crack pipe. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude.
I will-
You're driving to work with this shit in your car? What are you doing?
I will.
Shut up, don't
here
touch my burner.
For the record, I, George, state that yes, I have in my glove compartment a red hammer with a carbide tip stolen from a Cologne public transportation system that can crack anyone's skull.
Oh, this is one of those
Now,
escape hammers,
I'm not
right?
saying that
To break
my
the window to get out of the-
I'm not saying
If your
that
car's
my
sinking?
I'm not saying that my vehicle is otherwise unarmed, but I do have that in my glove compartment. In case I get a rollover and I have to break out the glass so I can escape. Yes, that's the reason.
Don't lie, it's right next to your ducky.
Yes.
Yeah.
That and my that and my my iPod full of Suede songs and
Suede songs.
hey, I like Suede.
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice fabric. It's a nice fabric. It's very Stevie Nicks.
It is,
Right?
but I do appreciate the band as well.
I wish I had a mic stand covered in scarves like Steven Tyler.
Hey, you know, I like what I like. What can I say?
Yeah. So what's the rest of your week looking like?
Well, let's see. Tomorrow I will have to grade people on how they teach. And it will slowly devolve into practice for a graduation.
Mm-hmm.
And because someone dropped the ball, we will not have graduation on Friday, but instead the following Monday. After that, I expect to be gainfully unutilized
Nice.
until sometime in early January.
Nice. Well, over the holiday season, I'm sure I'll see you. But,
You will most definitely see me, as
all right.
you well know.
We will
I
choose
have
a glass
no home.
and we will.
This is my home.
We will eat a turkey. I want to say thank you very much for gifting us with your time, your energy. And,
I think it was pretty low energy here. I don't know. We'll have to look at her.
No, you shared a lot. I want to say thanks, and let's do this again sometime soon.
Absolutely.
So to all the boys and girls at home, thank you very much.
Hello.
And we're out.